She told me not to look at her in the mirror. It was the only thing she said when she got in my cab, and I wish to God I'd listened. I've been driving taxis for almost 12 years, mostly the night shift. You see some strange things after midnight, but this one still keeps me up every time I close my eyes. It was around 2:30 a.m., one of those quiet, heavy nights when the streets feel too empty, too still. My last fare had been a drunk guy from a bar near the pier, and I was about ready to call it quits. Then my app pinged, pickup request on a side street I didn't recognize, near the edge of town. No profile picture, no name, just passenger. When I got there, the streetlights barely worked. The yellow glow flickered across cracked pavement and old, leaning houses. That's when I saw her. She was standing alone under a busted lamp, wearing this long gray coat and holding a small black purse. Her hair hung down, almost covering her face. She didn't move until I rolled down the window and asked, "You call a ride?" She nodded once and slid into the back seat. No greeting, no small talk. Just the soft click of the door closing. "Where to?" I asked, turning down the radio. Her voice was soft, almost like she was afraid to use it. "Take me north, out past the river." That stretch was nothing but woods and highway. I hesitated, but something in her tone made it hard to say no. So I started driving. For the first few minutes, it was dead silent, except for the hum of the tires. Then she spoke again. "Don't look at me in the mirror." Her voice didn't sound like a warning. It sounded like a plea. I laughed nervously. "All right, you got it." But after that, everything in the car changed. The air felt heavier. I turned up the heater, but my hands stayed cold. I could hear her breathing behind me, slow, steady, but it sounded too close. Like she was leaning forward even though I hadn't seen her move. The road stretched dark ahead, and the radio started to hiss with static, even though the signal had been fine moments before. I reached to turn it off, but when my eyes flicked up toward the rearview mirror out of habit, I froze. She was sitting perfectly still, staring at her knees. But there was something beside her. I couldn't make it out completely. Just a darker shape sitting too close, pressed up against her shoulder. I blinked, and it was gone. I told myself I was tired, just imagining things, but I couldn't shake the chill running down my spine. The longer I drove, the stranger it got. The smell in the car changed like wet earth or mold, a kind of smell that clings to old basements. At one point, I swear I heard whispering faint, like two voices breathing words right behind my seat. I caught pieces. "He's looking. Stop him. Don't." I gripped the wheel and tried to focus on the yellow lines sliding under my headlights. Finally, I asked, "Hey, how much farther did you want to go?" She didn't answer. I glanced at the rearview mirror before I could stop myself and immediately wished I hadn't. She wasn't sitting the same way anymore. Her head was tilted toward the window, and that second figure I thought I'd imagined. It was there again, clearer now. It looked like someone crouched in the corner of the seat, their face turned away, but their hand resting on her shoulder. I slammed the brakes. The car jerked to a stop, and my heart was pounding so hard I felt dizzy. "Ma'am," I stammered, Is someone with you?" She didn't move. Her reflection in the mirror, though it did. I swear on my life, her reflection turned its head toward me while her real face stayed still. The eyes in the mirror were wide open, black as ink, staring right into mine. I spun around in my seat, but the back was empty, completely empty. I jumped out of the car so fast, I didn't even put it in park. My breath came out in white clouds, and the only sound was the idling engine and the wind rushing through the trees. When I finally forced myself to look inside again, the door on her side was open, swinging gently in the cold. No footprints. No sign she'd ever been there. I stood there for a while, shaking, trying to make sense of what had just happened. I needed to believe I just imagined it all to get back behind the wheel. But when I finally did, I noticed something. On the back seat, where she'd been sitting, the fabric was damp, like someone had been sitting there soaked through. And the smell, that thick, rotten earth smell, it was stronger now. I started driving again, faster than I should have. The lights of the city finally came back into view, and for the first time in my life, I wanted nothing more than to be surrounded by people. I dropped the cab off at the lot and was ready to forget the whole thing until I caught my reflection in the rearview mirror one last time. There was something faint behind me, a shape of face pressed against the glass just over my shoulder. And then it whispered, in that same trembling voice, "I told you not to look. Thanks for watching." If you enjoyed this story, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. Let me know in the comments what you would have done. Stay safe out there.